What's up, my friends, the film fandom? As I hit the wrong button. You may be, however you may be watching, thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. And boy, it took all of 5 minutes for Casey to come in here and start his nonsense. Here we go with Casey again. See, at least he's not waiting till the very end, trying to come in and get the leavings from our stream. You know what I mean? But yes, we are here to talk about our first re-review. And for those of you wondering, hey Frank, didn't you and Jeremy talk about this movie a while back? Yes, we did. We had great fun talking about it. We did not have text with us at the time, I don't think. And with the new movie coming out, it only makes sense that we break down this one in the lead up to it. So let's get into this with my Head Life mate Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I was thinking the same thing a little while ago. I was like, I think we already did this movie. However, I'm not going to say no to doing it again because this is a fantastic movie that, you know, never gets old, however many times I watch it. So I'm excited. Headache aside, this is going to be fun. Like I said, I'll never get tired of talking about this movie. And I'm excited to see the new one, which is kind of rare. I know. This is where you insert the clips of me saying, fuck movies that keep making movies 30-year sequels and shit like that. Like, look, there are some that I can still be excited for. We haven't seen it yet. There's still time. But we'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there. And of course, from down south to shape of Lone Star State, you can see it behind him, an appropriately placed poster. My man Tex, what's up, brother?
Well, you know, if you fuck with me, I've got backup, so you might want to tread carefully. He takes care of my light work. But, you know, oddly enough, Casey's here already. There's actually a line in this movie that I think was written about him preemptively of get this loser out of here. So, Casey, they knew you were coming. So, I mean, it's just funny you're here already. So, you know, what you going to do?
Oh, it wasn't the cow?
It wasn't the cow.
Or the cow. Or the cow.
That
could have been that could have been Casey flying through the air. You know, we don't know that it wasn't. You know, I'm just saying anything's possible.
Someone edit Casey's face on the cow. Go.
You know what? I'm gonna start.
We need new merch.
I'm gonna start doing what Drew used to do. It's like every time we say something stupid, I'm gonna get a hold of TSS too. He's be like, "Hey TSS, clip that shit." we'll make that. Make that little cutaway on the channel. So TSS, if you're out there, that's your job now, buddy. Just like you used to do for Drew. Just make some of these oddball clips.
Yeah, we're gonna need we're gonna need a Harsh Truth Clips channel. You know, to coincide with the Derailed News and Podcast Clips channel. So, you know, it's all good.
But let's get right down to it. We are, of course, here talking about, again, one of the great movies coming out of the 90s. It is Twister, the 1996 American disaster thriller film directed by Jan de Bont and written by Michael Crichton and Anne-Marie Martin. It was produced by Crichton, Kathleen Kennedy, and Ian Bryce, with about 12 other people, including Steven Spielberg, serving as executive producers. The film stars an ensemble cast and includes Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, Jami, Gertz, and Cary Elwes as a group of amateur spirited storm chasers trying to deploy a tornado research device during a severe outbreak in Oklahoma. Twister was released in theaters on May 10th of 1996, and it is notable for being among the first major films to be released on DVD in the United States. Twister grossed $495 million worldwide against a reported budget of $88 to $92 million and became the second highest grossing film of 1996. It sold an estimated 54.7 million tickets in the United States and received generally positive reviews from critics, as well as receiving Academy Award nominations for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 63% based on 71 reviews, with an average rating of 6.1 out of 10. The consensus review reads, quote, a high concept blockbuster that emphasizes special effects over three-dimensional characters. Twister's visceral thrills are often offset by the film's generic plot. A standalone sequel named Twisters is scheduled to be released on July 19th, 2024, here in just a couple of days. We'll be breaking that one down as well. But let me go to you guys to talk about Twister. Jeremy, again, one of your favorite movies. Me and you have one of the films that we've bonded over the years. Give me some quick thoughts of this movie.
And it happened to come out in the 90s, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with it.
Here we go again. Here we go.
I mean, 90s aside, it's still a great movie. Like I said, it's kind of like what you said. I don't really know what sometimes people say generic plot. I'm like, well, you're chasing storms. That's not exactly a generic thing to do. You know what I mean? You don't do. So I don't know what you really want here. It is helped, like you say. It's more so by the cast that I think I said previously that I don't know if you could ever. Ironically, we can say the phrase "catching lightning in a bottle," or in this case, catching a whole tornado in a bottle. Of this cast feeling like they genuinely all feel like they're good friends. They all know each other pretty well. They know how to do this job as a team. And it just there's a lot of heart in this movie. That's where my here I'm gonna be a grumpy old man screaming at the sky again, like shaking my fist and my cane in the air, saying like, well, I don't know if you're gonna capture that again, but. And it's the same guy who directed Speed. So I mean, you have a guy who's done this high octane chase movie with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. So I'm like, yeah, it kind of makes sense that now you have this ragtag team of people, convoy of people chasing down storms, along with the pirate captain himself. But hey, he ruled the day, man. He came up against the extreme and he found out. So, yeah, no, I'm going to be waxing poetical about this whole movie. So I could go on for like another hour, but I'll let you guys speak.
It's very easy to do, to be perfectly honest, especially if you're a fan of great film. I don't know, Tex, give us some of your thoughts on Twister.
Yeah, I like this one. I'm a sucker for a catastrophic storm movie, whether it's a Sharknado, a Twister, a 10.5 earthquake that's going to destroy. I like the disaster movies. They're cheap, they're easy to make, and it's one of those things that's never plot heavy, and they always have like there's enough movie star power within it to get you in the door, and it's just fun. And in that world, this movie has to be on, at least, if not on top of the list, a top 3. And it's I mean, hell, the first time I've said this on here before, the first time I ever saw this film, me and my old man were sitting in the theater as a tornado siren was going off outside. So like that is forever burned into my brain. So many fun moments, so many quotable lines. It's one of those films I'll never forget. I can always go back to this film and never get tired of it. So, there's not many films that I can say that with, but this is definitely on that list. So, yeah, I dig this one.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, look, as much as I deride the 90s as a whole for all of the entertainment being very lackluster compared to other decades, there was some bangers that come out. Actually, one of my top 3 favorite films of all time is Schindler's List to come out in the 90s. Let's be perfectly honest. But man, this movie, it was what the 80s. I always wanted the 80s action films to be. Like it's like this is one of the few films where it's like all that stuff that it's like it all kind of came together. It had I don't understand where it said like a high concept blockbuster generic plot. I mean, it's kind of like when people say it's a routine space flight. I love when people think it's routine that you strap yourself to an ICBM with a couple tons of explosives and you light the fuse on it and ride the explosion up into space. I think because they're that routine. But I mean, generic plot. It's like there hasn't been a whole lot of movies where they chase tornadoes. It's like it's one of those things that kind of comes in spurts. It's like Volcano movies will come in spurts. You had like Volcano and Dante's Peak and a couple of movies all kind of happen in the same like 3 or 4 years. But what eventually ends up happening is like that really specific subgenre kind of flattens out and we move on to other things. And then somebody will be like, oh, I'm going to make a cool volcano movie 10 years later. And then it might come back again. The kind of disaster movie is kind of coming back into vogue, which is fine by me because I've actually liked the trailers for Twisters. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it. But again, it's great 80s filmmaking that finally matured into something in the 90s to watch. And it had, again, it was one of those things where it just all came together just right. It wasn't just the effects. It was the cast, it was the crew, it was the acting, the writing. It all worked out so well. So, I mean, that's why I think this is one of the reasons why this movie has kind of stood the test of time. it's transcended the generations because it's just that good. There's nothing I can pick apart about this movie that's not fun. There's not a single scene, there's not a single line of dialogue that makes me cringe or kind of like slows down my enjoyment of the movie. It's like this movie hits its stride and it just goes until ultimately the happy ending that only Celluloid can deliver. And then that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it is. A fantastic movie all around. But let's start this off by getting into the works of the director Jan de Bont. I have a picture of him here somewhere. I did not organize my pictures the way I wanted to. But let's get into the works of Jan de Bont. Here he's right here. Everybody knows the movies, but nobody knows the name attached to them. And this is one of those guys that has got his name on some of the best movies that have come out over the course of 20 or 25 years. He directed both the Speed movies, Pop Quiz, Hot Shot. He directed Twister. He directed The Haunting. He's actually got some roots in horror as well. He did Minority Report. He did the second Tomb Raider film with Angelina Jolie, which wasn't a bad film. Those are the ones he directed. He was also a cinematographer on movies like Cujo, All the Right Moves, which is a great 80s movie. Jewel of the Nile, one of the great adventure romances of back in the day. Die Hard, one of the best Christmas movies ever made. Hunt for Red October, Lethal Weapon 3. I know. I said what I said. And Lethal Weapon 3 and Basic Instinct. So, I mean, this guy's had his fingerprints all over some of the great movies of the last 30 or 40 years. It's unbelievable to me that his name is not held in more. Look, he's not Spielberg, of course, but it's unbelievable to me that so few people will see a movie and not see his kind of fingerprints all over it. Jeremy, what do you think of the works of Jan de Bont?
Yeah, I mean, if, like you said, if you read that list, I'm sure, people have seen at least a few of those, or of them, and their importance. That those aren't really, just B grade, just low budget movies. Those are some big blockbusters. You know what I mean? So now, I mean, I would say not everyone is like us, and we're like, oh yeah, if you said his name, we like, oh yeah, we know that guy. We've heard of his his work, but to the common person, I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't really. It's not like if I said Spielberg, like everybody knows who that is, right? Or yeah, hell, even George Lucas, something like that. But like I said, you can't say that guy, he's no slouch. That's a pretty respectable amount of work that he's done on some of these movies that we all still enjoy because they're still being watched now. So.
Tex, how about you? I mean, I go down that list of movies that he's attached to in one way, shape, or form. What do you think of the work of Jan de Bont, and what do you think he did with this film in particular?
Oh, I think he's. I'm kind of like Roger Corman. When somebody says B movie, that kind of implies that a movie is less than. And I know that's not what like Jeremy means when he uses that term, but a lot of people in the world do. It like Roger Corman would always say, he likes the term exploitation, which this movie would fall under the whole. You're kind of exploiting the whole Storm gimmick. It's a cheesy kind of fun kind of deal, which is okay. Hell, Speed is very much in that. It's a very simple plot, just enough star power. Like I said at the beginning of this, just enough star power to get you in the door with Keanu and everything else. And, you take people on a fun ride. You're not watching Schindler's List here. And what you can say about this guy's record is he makes fun movies and he's made consistent work. How many directors or people in Hollywood don't have consistent work throughout the years? Some people might get 1 or 2, 3 films and then they just kind of vanish. This guy stayed in the background on something. Whether it's making the action movie Die Hard that happens to take place at Christmas, because that's not a fucking Christmas movie, goddamn it. But thank you.
Frank's outnumbered here, and I know what side of the hill I'm on.
Right, yeah. Frank's in the minority report, if you will. But
I think.
Oh, that was a good one.
Hey, I every once in a while I get a good one. Every once in a while. But he's done consistent fun work. Now I can't say that I've ever seen the second Tomb Raider. Now that's the second one with Angelina Jolie, or the newer one. Which one is that?
The sequel with Angelina Jolie is
Yeah, because she did two,
right?
She did two of them. I don't think I ever saw the second. I know I saw the first one a couple times, but I don't think I ever saw the second one. But yeah, the dude's done some good work. Hell, Speed alone is worth, a career achievement award just for the memes out of it. I mean, but come on now,
Well, that's a good movie.
Oh, I love Speed. Speed's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact. I mean, look, if just like I said, the pies that he's had his fingers in. I mean, again, Speed 2 not as good. Speed 1 is a classic.
We'll not talk about Speed 2.
Yeah, we're not talking about Speed 2.
No.
But I mean, Speed 1 is a classic. I mean, yeah, it's kind of I don't want to call it a cookie cutter action film. It does follow the general template. But I mean, it's entertaining as hell. It's one of the movies that made Keanu Reeves an action star.
Oh.
I mean, he had been in like Parenthood. He had been in Bill and Ted. But like that's when Keanu Reeves really popped, was in Speed.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Twister, great. The Haunting is a really good movie. Minority Report was a really good movie. Tomb Raider 2, I like the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies. I mean, look, they're not they're not cinematic masterpieces. They were very enjoyable. I haven't thought
it's a video game movie.
Yeah, as video game movies go, it's probably in the top 10% of all the ones that have been made.
It wasn't
as far as quality.
bad.
Yeah,
the first one.
Yeah, it wasn't the first Mario Brothers or anything like that. It was a decent enough movie.
Well, you could videotape yourself spitting on the ground and it'd be better than the first Mario Brothers movie. But that's beside the point. Well, that's an extreme example.
But I mean, he's had, like I said, he's also the cinematographer on Cujo, which I still think is one of the best horror movies ever made. I've always been really overcritical about everything Stephen King if they turn into a movie or a TV show. Like it either hits or misses. Cujo hits. Jewel of the Nile is what is. I'm not going to lie, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure movie from the '80s. Wasn't terribly successful. It was popular when it came out. It's got Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. It was kind of a romantic adventure. It's like Indiana Jones, but more of a romance. I mean, it's a fun movie to watch. Die Hard, which is just a classic. Hunt for Red October, which is classic. Basic Instinct, again, another classic film. One of the most popular films. The guy's had his hands on a lot of really great films, and he's actually got a couple that I think are getting ready to come out in the next year or two that he actually had a hand in filming back in the '60s. The footage has been sitting on a shelf somewhere, and either him and or somebody else decided it was time to edit these movies together and get them released. So he's got essentially a couple of 50-something-year-old movies getting ready to come out. That's
wild. Okay,
but I mean, but Jan de Bont he's had his hands in a lot of really great movies over the course of the last 20 or 30 years. But let's talk now about the cast. I mean, good God, like I said,
man.
I mean, at this point in the world, these two are kind of as good as it got. I mean, I don't know if Helen Hunt was doing Mad About You yet. I think that might have come after this. I can't remember. Maybe it was around this time.
Sure.
Wasn't Castaway about this time too?
Maybe. I think Castaway came later. I think Castaway came a couple years after this.
Maybe late 90s. Yeah. Okay.
But I don't remember. Like I said, I really liked that movie until the end. It kind of ruined that movie for me.
But, because it's realistic and it sucks.
I know.
I mean, what do you want?
I wanted the happy ending. It didn't
I know, but would that not have also just been quote generic? Like obviously we want him to,
I don't care. Don't care.
Go back. No. I was like, dude, get back in your car, turn the hell around, go back and talk to the cool lady who's got all the art. She seems awesome. Just come on.
If they would have given me that ending, sidebar.
Well, I think that was maybe
graphic up. But if they would have at least given me that ending, they would have at least tried to have given me something like the happy ending, like their version of it. I probably still wouldn't have liked that ending, but it would have felt a little more complete. This one just shows them standing there at the crossroads in the middle of nowhere, and then cut to black and the credits roll. And I'm like,
kind of just literally heavy-handed.
After all this, you're leaving me with that one hanging question: does he go to her, or does he go to her, back to her? What happens?
I mean, I was more wondering, what the hell was in the FedEx box? Damn it!
I don't know.
We'll never know.
That's in the box.
They were saving that for the sequel. That's what they were doing. But, maybe.
Castaway was the year 2000, so never mind. That was a lot later than I thought. Okay.
Oh, it's only 4 years after this movie, so it was like a great deal of time. But yeah, let's talk about the cast. And Jeremy, again, Bill Paxton, you and I both. We have both gushed about Bill Paxton for most of our lives. Loaded cast in this movie. Who stood out to you the most?
And like I said, it's sometimes, like when you get, I know one thing people complain about The Walking Dead is like, there's too many goddamn characters. And while I would probably agree with you, this movie does have quite a few characters, but like I said, they all like fit into this, like I said, this little group of people that, we just kind of come in on them just in the middle of setting up to go chase some tornadoes, and somehow it all just works. Like I said, they all feel yeah, like that. They would just gang up on her and just be like, hey, let's go storm your aunt. Food. Food. That right there is like we said, there's things that I will quote off the cuff, and that is one of them. Just yelling about food.
Right.
And there's a good example right there. There's two more. There's Cameron from Ferris Bueller, and obviously also the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman. There it is. That's the iconic picture. The suck zone. Man, I guess I kind of said it really. I guess somebody who also, again, plays a lot into the heart of this movie is Aunt Meg. So I would go with I would go with her. I think because Aunt Meg reminds me a lot of my own mom. I was just like, it's that character for me.
Now, how are her biscuits and gravy? That's what we need.
Well, she doesn't slaughter her own cows.
The steak and eggs would definitely look good. That's for sure.
Oh my god! Like I said, how do you blame them, man? Like, you come in there with steak and eggs looking that good, some mashed potatoes and gravy.
Right.
Oh my! I mean, I think Bill even says it like when he shows him the plate. He's like, "Oh, I want that." Like, yeah, right. I want to sit down at that table and just have a place and eat some good steak and eggs, man. So, I'm hopeful. I was like, I think we said it. The actress who plays Aunt Meg is still around.
Lois Smith. We talked a year or two ago that she just won a Tony for doing some work, for doing some theater work.
So she's still kicking ass.
Now, Tex, what about you? Again, Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, huge at the time. A lot of actors. I mean, Alan Ruck obviously have been around quite a bit. But I mean, who in this cast stood out to you the most, and what do you think about the cast overall?
Oh, the overall cast is great. So many stands up, but for me, it's Cary Elwes. I got to go with good old Dr. Miller here. He plays the perfect, sniveling little shit heel that you just love to hate him. Just in that one line alone where he goes, "Stick around," because the days of us sniffing the dirt are over. He has such aspirations to be if that's not a punchable face, I don't know what is. You want to just throw that guy into the wood chipper, But he's so fun in this movie. He, of course, he gets his comeuppance, but up until that, he so much fun to watch on screen. Of course, I'm going to be kind of impartial to him because he's Dr. Gordon from my Saw franchise. But Cary Elwes for me, that's an easy pick. The dude's awesome in this film.
He's such a nice guy, though.
Yeah,
we met him at a Comic-Con, and he was the nicest guy in the world. I'm like, that's
yeah. Well, I saw him at Dallas Horror Con years and years ago. But yeah, no, one of the nicest dudes you'll meet. But he plays such a good dark character. He has that aspect within him, and it really comes out in this. He stole the idea. He did, he did the whole thing with Dot, Dorothy and whatever.
Unrealized.
It was Cary Elwes he's just so much it's like I said, you just love to hate this guy in this film. He's always been my favorite.
Yeah, I agree with Tex. It's a great villain can really make a story. And while generally speaking, in a movie this, the villain is Mother Nature, so there's not necessarily a face to put to it. It's just the villain is the tornado. It's kind of usually how these movies are portrayed. Even though the tornado is not trying to do anything, it just is. It exists. It does what it does. There's no intent. But having a guy like Cary Elwes around to give the frustration that they feel, a direction, that they can a tangible thing they can touch that is the source of their frustration. It's fantastic. Also, me and Jeremy have talked about Lois Smith so many times. The one thing that I've never really got behind with this movie is the story behind Jo and why she so badly wants to figure this thing out and get Dorothy to work so she can monitor tornadoes more warning. I get it. I mean, the opening scene of the movie sets that up just fine, but it all seems so generic over the course of the movie. It was like the one real 80s thing that made its way into this movie was that her overacting at times in this movie. There's a couple of scenes where she was going a little bit too hard. And that scene where they lose Dorothy in the one storm and they're like arguing and Jami Gertz's character hears it and all that. It's like that to me was like, that's when they were drifting into the 80s overacting area a little bit. I thought that they could have been done a little bit more subtly and it would have just been fine. But I mean, the one thing that really makes this movie kind of awesome is Jami Gertz and her fish out of water. She is the one person that does not belong in this fucking movie.
Everything in this movie. No matter what situation she's in,
oh my God, at all, and I love how it pops up like 2 or 3 times over the course of the movie, and it's funny, and you kind of understand it because I feel like most of us watching this movie for the first time, I was like, look, it's not like everybody goes out and chases tornadoes on the regular, so it's not like we all know it. It's like we've all gone out and done a lot of things that we see people do in movies, but I mean. It's like we can kind of live through her a little bit and kind of her astonishment at just how big this thing can be. And so it's like the look on her face right there. It's like you can see where Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, they've been here before. They're looking at this, they're trying to figure it all out and figure out what's next. And she's just like, I really feel like I'm going to die right now. That's kind of my overwhelming emotion. So,
we've got cows.
It was fun to experience all that kind of through her. And it culminates with that really great dialogue delivery she has at the end, that last conversation she has with Bill. I just thought she was a really fun character to have in this. And she's a fish out of water, but she has that moment of clarity at the end. Where she's like, I am just not. This is just too big for me.
Do you see how? Oh, well, picture's gone now. But I was gonna say, do you see how fine Helen Hunt looks? You let that go? Come on, Bill. Get your shit together.
Well,
Speaking of, okay, could you imagine riding in a vehicle in the middle of nowhere with the woman you used to do with the woman you're currently doing it with and trying to I would rather fight a tornado barehanded than ride in that vehicle for 5 minutes. No, thank you.
I think
that ain't gonna happen.
The only thing that takes me out of this damn movie, also shown by that picture. There is no goddamn way in any stretch of the imagination that bitch has any cell service during this movie.
Right.
Especially in 1996.
Early cell phone usage.
You're in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma.
In a storm in bumfuck nowhere, Oklahoma, there is no way. I know it's for the comedic bits, and like Frank was saying, she's kind of the. She's like I've said before as a term, the audience character, where it's how you make exposition come out and explanations that don't seem like awkward, like it's being kind of just fed to you. So she is that character. And again, we have some funny bits when she suddenly gets a work call in the middle of a tornado and cows are flying everywhere. But I don't know. That's the only thing that really ruins the movie for me is I'm like, no, we lived through that time. She has no cell service. Stop lying to me.
Right.
Actually, this movie would have been a lot funnier if they still had gone with Tom Hanks instead of Bill Paxton, because the castaway jokes would have been a lot funnier.
Dude, I couldn't imagine this movie without.
Sorry if I probably ruined a piece of trivia, but that would have been pretty funny.
I could not imagine anybody with Bill Paxton playing the lead role. That would have been so weird.
No, I could have seen Tom Hanks doing it. I really could have. I'm kind of glad he didn't.
I think the only 2 roles I care about with Tom Hanks is The Burbs and Toy Story. The rest of his career, I really that and Forrest Gump, I guess.
Come on,
but other than that, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up this one picture that I wanted to get. I didn't think about it until just now. But let's move on now to the plot. I mean, the generic plot doesn't really, like I said, I highly criticize that characterization of the plot and the consensus review. I thought the plot of the movie was actually kind of fantastic. Again, it was one of those things. It's not something that you deal with in normal life. Rom-coms, to me, one of the reasons they're not very attractive to me is because I've been in and out of relationships my whole for 100 years now. So I've been there literally dozens of times. So it's not a unique situation. With this one, very unique. Tex, you actually living in an area of the country, much like Jeremy and I, these areas are susceptible to this kind of weather. What did you think of the plot? For you, was there anything you would have changed?
We're all in the alley, damn it.
Oh yeah. I'm right at the beginning of Tornado Alley, and we get them bad every freaking year. They hit hard, and they hit hard, buddy. And I like so many locations as they're just driving. Now, of course, this is not in Texas, but Oklahoma, but very similar landscapes. Like this is another one of those that it feels like home to me. I can see areas just like this, just everywhere around where I live. And this movie, they nailed what it feels like to live in this area of the country. Just barbecue joints everywhere. Hell, we still got drive-in theaters down here. So many things. I loved how they did that. But yeah, plot-wise, it's a storm chasing movie. What more do you need? We don't need plot getting in the way of a good story here. You get your minor subplot, your B story of, will they or won't they sign the divorce papers? And, I you could have even had the movie without that and still been great, I think. But yeah, I can't really complain about this. If you're going to change anything, maybe take out the love story crap because I don't really care about that. But besides that, this movie's perfect. Plot wise, anyways, I have no complaints whatsoever.
Jeremy, what about you? The movie pretty straightforward, a little more unique to give it credit for. What do you think of the plot of the movie, and is there anything you would have changed?
Something in terms of the plot. One thing that I will never forget is that how they rate movies and then they give like it's rated this because this, right? It has these depictions, it's sexual violence or it's smoking or it's foul language, whatever. Right. This to me, I'm glad. Well, we're still staring at Bill Paxton, but I'm glad you don't see around me because I'm just like surrounded by shit everywhere, boxes and stuff. My movie is in here somewhere, but the funniest thing that to me is I read the description of this movie. I think it was PG-13, but the quote at the below that is, and it's only for this, of intense depictions of very bad weather. I don't know why that really? That's the only thing it says is just for intense depictions of very bad weather. I'm like, wow. Well, I mean, you said it all right there. See, but for no one who's ever lived in this part of the, like we were saying, we live in this area, so it's intense on its own. So, I don't know if you're not used to that. If you're somewhere where, I don't know, maybe it snows or something. I'm sure there's blizzards and all sorts of, and I'm sure I know there's movies of that too. There's all kinds of environmental disaster movies, but
it's a 2012 movie, something like that.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, one that might be a little extreme is like Day After Tomorrow. It's not like the entirety of New York is frozen over, but right. Yeah, this isn't really too far from the truth. Come on, the tornadoes got hilarious comedic timing by, lining up with The Shining, and right as he says, "Here's Johnny," it comes right over the fucking hill.
Best scene in the whole movie. Speaking of,
rest in peace, Shelley Duvall. But I'm like, man, that's pretty damn funny that it's coming through the drive-in theater right when he's busting through the door. No, I like the plot of this movie, and it's not like the subplot of like the love story was really needed, but that again is the whole thing that kicks it off is Bill going out there to go find Joe to get these papers signed. So I guess really that's the reason that we all come together here, not just the tornadoes, but it's the whole reason he's out here. And it's it's kind of like he's just kind of reluctantly having to get back into it, and as many times he says it, "I'm not back," okay, Bill, you're back, you're in it, man. Like I said with John Wick, you stick so much as a pinky back in this in this pool, and you're back in it, man.
Well, and that's what I'm saying about that love story plot is, that's the only reason Jami Gertz is even in this film. If you take out you can do everything else within this movie even have the "We've got cows" line, have Helen Hunt say that or something else, whatever. Doesn't really matter. You can still have Bill Paxton. He can be off doing his thing, and he comes. Or you, it's not hard to work out. Have this whole movie and cut that, and you're still fine. Like that isn't there. Sure, whatever. If that helps you watch the movie, great. I don't really care.
Like I said, she's
But
she's the audience character, so I get it. She's there to help us, like explain, like, okay, so, and it also helps explain like what they're trying to do with this contraption they call Dorothy, of trying to get her up inside a tornado to try and get readings and get a better warning system. So, like I said, it does help, and it would feel kind of awkward if, like, I don't know how else they were gonna give the explanation of this movie or the exposition. Sorry. So, and it does. She does, like we said, kind of have a turnaround at the end, near the end there. And there's still quite a bit of movie left after that. It's not like she sticks around for the whole movie. It's like she's there until
that's what I'm saying.
Need her, and she just kind of walks off. We're like, yeah, she didn't stick around for the whole movie. We didn't need her to.
She even realizes this is not going to, like, that relationship is not going to work out. Like, and then she just fucks off, and then we're back to business as usual. Like,
and it's like you kind of want the two of them to get over their shit and get back together. I don't necessarily agree with they're overacting in that scene. I'm like, I feel like it's a boiling point, and it's like there's a lot of emotion going on right now, and she's just one track minded, hell bent on getting the thing to work, even though there's no point to it. And Bill's like trying to be the like, dude, it's over. Like, let this go. We've got more Dorothys, and also, like, dude, you end up killing yourself. It's not going to bring her dad back. And I'm like, that's that emotional punch to her where she's just like realizing, like, oh yeah, it kind of snaps her back into reality a little bit.
I think the overacting is kind of part of this genre of film, though. Like, obviously, this is a very exaggerated version of what, something like this can be. And the overacting is kind of part of it. Like, it goes along with it, with the gigantic storm films. And, it's, going into this kind of film, the catastrophic storm genre, or whatever you want to call that, you're not coming for groundbreaking performances. Now, that's not saying you don't get good performances, because I think we would all three agree in this film, there's not really a bad performance to be had. But over the top does not necessarily mean bad, as some people would say. So, what you got?
Well, let's take a minute to talk about one of the cooler things about this movie, and that's the special effects. There wasn't too many special effects in this movie as I was watching it again today that I could look at and be like, those special effects look dated. There were a couple of them that were kind of obvious how they did it, which kind of bummed me out. But I mean, the effects for 1996 were pretty damn spot on. I mean, yeah, you could tell that some of this stuff's computer, but it's a lot more seamless than it is in some movies that are 25 to 30 years old, where they were really just starting to crack some of the CGI stuff in film. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What do you think of the special effects? Do they hold up now?
Yeah, I would say so. As I've said before, sometimes you watch some of these movies that came out in a completely different decade. You watch them on some screens now. I've said it so many times. I watched The Matrix on a buddy's, his mom's TV that was like brand new for that time, is maybe 10, 15 years ago. And I'm like, it just did not look right for some reason. I'm like, I don't think it's meant to be watched on this kind of TV. And it looked really awkward. Yeah, again, as great as the effects are in that movie too, I'm just like, eh. But watching this movie, like even now, I'm like, it doesn't really take anything away from me. There's still a lot of practical effects that help it, because I think the only thing that really is computer generated are probably like the funnel clouds, and really it's off in the distance. It's a bunch of dust and dirt and shit. I mean, even going back to 1939, the Twister in The Wizard of Oz still looks fucking spot on, and that was a practical. You know what I mean? So it's not like you can't have a mix of these. Yeah, you can have a mix of these things and still make it look pretty seamless. And even 30, almost 30 some years down the line now, it still holds up pretty well. Like I know we talk about Jurassic Park. I mean, that's practical effects for the most part, and it still looks. I mean, I know we know done it. I know if Birdie Gamer's still here, I sorry to break your heart, but dinosaurs aren't real. But they still look pretty. They still look pretty flawless. I mean,
don't tell him that. He won't. He'll freak out. He can't handle that. Tell him that.
He's in the process of buying all that land on an island somewhere, and he's just like, oh, they're not real. Oh, damn it. Wait, your comment, sir. No, so this is something that's I was kind of going down the line of like Jaws. It's a practical effect, but I'm like, it still gives you this this kind of fear of something that's part of nature that's kind of out of your control. Like, I mean, the scene I'm thinking about with that first tornado that they go after, where they get stuck in the ditch, and they're again the flawless back and forth between Bill and Joe. When she's like, "Are you mad?" He's like, "I'll be mad later. Right now, I'm trying not to get us killed." I'm like, "Yeah." When it's past the point of, oh, okay, now we're trying to not die.
Right.
It does a pretty good job of depicting this kind of force of nature. It's not really something to be messing around with. I know I'm saying that as a Midwesterner. I'm like, yeah, we hear sirens, we're going outside with a glass of something in our hand to go watch the fun.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the porch watching right up till I'm gonna get sucked into it, and then we go for protection. That's kind of how we handle it.
Yeah, the tell is if for anyone who doesn't know, if you see it and it doesn't look like it's moving, that's the time to get the hell out because it's coming right for you.
Yeah.
If you don't see it moving away in some direction, it's coming right for you. So
I will say
maybe that's the time to hunker down.
My favorite moment is right before it comes. Everything's dead quiet. It's still. The wind's not even blowing. It's so eerie. It's like, oh, you know what's coming. Like your blood starts to pump a little bit. I always enjoy that part kind of weirdly. So.
And part of the special effects, I would say, is like the sound design. It's like some of these almost have this guttural kind of like roar to it. I'm like, yeah, sometimes it's like described as like a freight train. It's a loud fucking noise. Trust me. It's not something you forget.
I didn't put it in the trivia. I actually found the trivia on IMDb that they actually used the moan of a camel and just slowed it down and altered it.
I was trying to remember what animal it was. It was some animal they slowed the sound down for. Yeah. So yeah, that's something that's kind of iconic. It's like the sound design of this, but also seeing, and they get the flow of like how these, I think the only thing that really kind of gets me is the water spouts. The water spouts look a little goofy. I mean, it's a tornado on water, but what are you gonna do? I know they don't. That's almost the Jaws thing where I'm like, that seems really targeted. Like they split apart in the water, then they stop, and then they decide to do their little do-si-do around the car specifically, and then just piss off into the water again. I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. This time it got personal.
I actually thought that scene looked a lot because this came out about the same time as The Abyss. I always thought it kind of looked like that scene where the water is like going through the underwater lab, and it kind of like makes the face and talks to the one chick. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that because the water looked really shiny.
Yeah, that was also a weird shimmery kind of sound too, and it's like going by the car. I don't know. Yeah. That's maybe the only one that looks a little goofy to me, but otherwise, yeah, pretty solid. I mean, as this movie goes on, they get bigger and bigger, and to be fair, who really cares at that point? It's just this massive thing coming barreling right down at you.
I don't know, Tex, how about you? The special effects in this movie, did they hold up for you, or did they start to look a little dated?
Well, just because an effect is dated doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. Like Jeremy was pointing out with Wizard of Oz or whatever. Hell, some of the effects of the early, go look at like Davy Jones and Pirates of the Caribbean 2 compared to today's CGI. Like, Jesus Christ, like what has happened? Like, just because it's a little older, that doesn't mean it's bad. Like, for instance, my favorite scene in this entire film, the drive-in scene. Yeah, you can tell there's some CG stuff going on, but you know what? Is it perfect? No, but it works. Like you can see where, like you can see where they play with it, whatever. But you kind of have to look at it from the aspect of look at where this is in the world. This is, like, somebody said earlier, bumfuck Egypt, nowhere, Oklahoma. So if this was perfectly clean and polished, it wouldn't fit the atmosphere it was in. And it kind of plays with it really, really well. And no, I think it works. There's not a movie or television show out there that you can't pick and, just pick and choose your little nits and whatever with something. But I think it works for me. Anytime I watch this, I don't sit back and go, oh, God, this was, look how fake that tornado is, or blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, tornadoes don't really make that noise. I've been in plenty of them. I know what sound they make. But you know what? I mean, it's there's so many things that you could say, but yeah, for me it works. It's just I'm all good here.
Yeah, like I said, I was watching this and I was like, damn, he's actually holding up really well. I mean, I'm watching it now on like a flat screen newer TV that kind of it doesn't like sharpen all of the stuff. I mean, it's not 4K or anything, but it does sharpen the effects up a little bit. And sometimes what ends up happening is these older effects end up getting really badly exposed because they weren't meant to be on a bajillion megapixels or whatever they were meant to be seen on. They were making them at the time to be seen on the old tube TV still. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at them and I was like, these actually go pretty well. Not just because they were done well. I mean, and they were done really well. It's also because I think a lot of it's the scope. Because like when you're watching like this shot of the tornado going towards the house at the end, it's so big. There's not a small detail that catches your eye because of the immenseness of what is happening. So it's like you don't really have time. You're just kind of overwhelmed with all the data that you're getting, that your eyeballs are sucking in to even pick out the fact that, this little piece of wood flying around looks like it's CGI, or that little bit of the cloud isn't shaded quite right, or whatever you might be able to pick out. I'm not saying I saw either one of those things. Just to nitpick one little grain of detail in that whole mosaic of chaos and destruction. Yeah. It was like that. It's like I thought it held up really, really well, and really at every point in the movie. But like I said, the only thing I noticed is what Jeremy was talking about when they split off and they were in the water. I thought they looked a little too crisp, especially in the water. Like I said, it was really shiny. It reminded me of that scene in The Abyss when the water is snaking its way through the facility. But yeah, I can't. Just watching today, I can't complain about these effects. I think they still look really, really good. And yes, I know the flying cow was CGI, and don't tell me that it looked CGI. Of course, it was CGI. You're not going to fling a fucking cow through the air.
Oh,
right. I mean, not that I would be entirely against it. I mean, that would be kind of cool to see. But I mean, that was CGI. I know, but still, there were some things that were kind of obvious because you were never going to do them in real life. But I thought the CGI was great. I mean, for being 1995, probably when they were working on it, I thought it was really, really good. But obviously there's a sequel coming. We're going to be talking about it probably on Tuesday. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What do you think Twisters, this upcoming film, will add to the franchise? I mean, is it just going to be a totally separate thing and it's going to completely ignore the fact that the movie exists? Or are they going to try to somehow give it some kind of connective tissue that's going to help us appreciate what they're doing in this new film a little bit better? What do you think it's going to bring to the franchise?
This is always the fun about living in the current time of movies where I'm like, I don't know what the flying fuck we're doing anymore. That being said, the only thing that makes me think it has something to do with this movie is I don't know why you used the same font, the same just black background, and that. I mean, I was going to talk about the iconic font. To me, that font's really iconic for the word Twisters. It's just something about it that's just fucking cool. One of the coolest movie posters too, I'd say. Just Twisters, you see that tornado, and then her and Bill running away from the tornado in the background. Iconic. Now, the only thing is that you called it Twisters. You put an S on the end, so I'm like, so does that mean, right? So it would feel a little dirty to me if you're just using that and then it has nothing to do with it. So I feel like there's got to be something, and I just wishful thinking. Like I said, Aunt Meg is still around. I know Helen Hunt's still around. The thing that would really suck is obviously we don't have Bill Paxton or Philip Seymour Hoffman anymore. I would maybe just wishful thinking want just a quick little cameo. Maybe Helen Hunt like runs this whole lab, like they said at the end of the movie, like, hey, someone's got to run the lab, do the data, all that crap. Maybe they got their money, got their nice setup to, study twisters a lot easier. And maybe she's the head of the whole kit and caboodle, and that's who these people work for. Fine. But past that, I really don't know what else it'd be. I feel like it'd be a little weird if it's like, oh yeah, the girl's like maybe the daughter of Bill and Joe, but still you'd have to explain why Bill Paxton's not there. So maybe just don't touch it. I don't know. It's the only place I can really go with that. And like we were just talking about the effects, I'm like, really? Right now we're about almost 30 years out from this movie. There's no reason why these effects shouldn't look absolutely amazing. And like Tex just said, on the big screen, this is a movie that I'm like, no, I would want to watch this on a big screen in a theater. This deserves the scope of this deserves the scope of a theater. And I'm like, I hope you hit that and hit that hard. So
I've seen the Twisters trailer twice on, in previews for other movies I've seen recently. And the minute you see that tornado in front, like, oh my God, like, take my money here.
I want that sound. I wanted to just feel it in my chest. I want to see this thing just roar at them and shit. Like, oh man. Hey, and I will appreciate that you kept the red Dodge truck. So I'm like, okay, you're getting points back with me for keeping the red Dodge. So I'm just saying.
The rig that they're driving in this new one's about $150,000 truck base price with all the crap that they.
I'm like,
that ain't no cheap pickup truck. Yeah. That's an expensive toy right there. So
we're past liability only, I think.
Right? Yeah. No, we're getting like.
It's a very pretty truck.
You're getting like Lloyd's of London, insurance coverage for a truck like that. I mean, this is ridiculous.
You better have full coverage on that truck.
I'm not sure anybody would insure that truck.
No.
You just call Progressive to get insurance that truck. They're like, no, you're intentionally driving this truck into a tornado.
You want to use this for what exactly, sir?
Right. If I could afford that,
like it to the ground in a tornado.
I'm a Chevy guy, but I will take that Dodge all day long. There ain't no way I'm jumping that thing in cornfields and going, I'm not putting hooks underneath it like Jeremy just said. I ain't doing no. This is going to be waxed on a weekly basis, and God help the first person that scratches it because you're dead. But good luck.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Jeremy. I don't want this to be a straight up sequel. I don't want it to be over connected because there's not really a lot of ways to really tightly connect this movie to the original. Yeah. Because again,
they've got Dorothy in it. Like, there's so many. It has to be a sequel though. They've got Dorothy. It's Twisters with an S. Well, there's no way it's not a sequel.
There's ways that you can get around it. Like I said, you're one line of dialogue away from explaining everything. Mm-hmm. But
unless you're doing a Twisters multiverse, it has to be a sequel.
I would like to, not necessarily. I would like to see. I would like to see a surprise connection between these two movies. Like, we'll see the girl who plays in Twisters. I forget her name already, but like you see her on the phone talking to somebody kind of covertly. And then right before the big scene where they go to make their version of Dorothy work, she's FaceTiming somebody and you find out it's Helen Hunt. And Helen Hunt is her aunt or something like that.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
It's like just something like that gives it grounds it just a little. Because there's, again, either you were going to make a straight up sequel to this movie, which you can't do because there's so many people missing, Bill Paxton specifically, or you had to make an entirely separate movie that had nothing to do with that at all. Now, I would make an entirely separate movie, which I think is what they're doing with this. But I would have that one little nugget that connects them, just as like that little psychic wink to the original. So that way you can have the story be its own unique thing, but there is still one little piece of connective tissue that kind of makes it all okay. They've done that in a couple of different franchises where I think it's been done very, very well. Like Star Trek is one of them. Like Star Trek has always been really, really good about taking this one moment, not the entire series or entire movie, but taking one moment to kind of connect it to the larger universe and the larger fandom and saying it's okay to like this for what it is. And usually when they do that, that product, whatever it is usually fairly well liked. So
I just don't want it to feel like a cheap cameo. I don't want it to just be there for the sake of being there. It's like, yeah, okay. But,
yeah, it's like I would like to see. It's like I know that Lois Smith probably won't come and do a part in this movie. That would be cool as hell. But I mean, if we just saw like her picture, like on the New Girl's like dresser somewhere, or in a wall, just a picture of her with one of her sculptures or whatever, or even just a picture of like her and Joe, and like maybe this girl is a baby or something like that. That would be a fun little piece of connectivity to kind of connect it in like I said, some small way that lets fans of this movie, the original '96 film, know that it's okay to like this. That this is going to fit in pretty well. And they're confident that it's going to be okay.
If this is a new universe, I know how we end the film, and no movie has ever done this before. So I'm totally coming up with this by myself, guys.
Okay.
Movie happens, closing credits. We have Cary Elwes walk out in a black turtleneck to bring in Glenn Powell for the Twisters initiative, and he drafts him into his team. And we build a whole multiverse.
He's gonna have an eye patch.
Have an eye patch, but on the left side, on the right side. Excuse me. Yeah, he has an eye patch on the right side. Yeah, Cary Elwes. It can be like a director of tornadoes. Tornadoes are pretty furious, so maybe he's, Director Fury. Maybe if you want to, something like that. You never know. It can be great.
And you want to convoy these bullshit cars. Hey, Fury, you want to join the family? The Fast Family?
Somebody would be like, where have you been all these years? And he'd be like, I was the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Right.
They thought I was dead, so I took over as the Dread Pirate Roberts.
If he just says no, he can just be like, all right, as you wish, sir.
As you wish.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, no post-credit scenes. I know that one thing I don't want to see out of this movie is a post-credit scene of any kind.
Yeah,
Let the movie end. Let the movie. Don't even leave it open for a sequel, because it's like if we go see this movie, and I may go see it tomorrow. There's a fan event to the Regal tomorrow. If I can get out of work early enough, I may go tomorrow to watch that and go see it again this weekend probably. But if I sit down and watch this movie at the very end, they do something stupid like they'll pan over to where the tornado just got done, and like one little piece of wind starts to spin again, like they're setting up for it's like Michael Myers, like he didn't really die. It's like Jason Voorhees, his heart starts beating again.
He just moves like one finger.
Just stop. Get over yourself. Not everything needs to be set up for a sequel. Not everything needs to have a post-credit scene. Sometimes some movies can just exist on their own.
Well,
Frank, I do have to ask. Go ahead, Jim.
I think she said it best at the end. You know what? I think we've seen enough. Movie ended.
So. Yep.
Well, Frank, I do have to ask, when you go see this, are you, after the movie's over, are you going to verbally out loud say, stop trying to make Glenn Powell happen? Because you said it like 5 times already.
Well, I asked if I could go to the movie with him. I'm like, I might try to
take it with me. I'm just gonna piece of cardboard and marker and paint with a sign to stop trying to make Glenn Powell happen. And then I'm gonna stand up, and as everybody's leaving the theater, I'm just gonna hold the sign up and be like, stop trying to make Glenn Powell happen. He's not. He's not gonna happen.
I need to respond with the meme on my post over here, like the future's now, old man. Let it go.
The days of stuff the dirt are over. Stop trying to make Glenn Powell happen. But let's get into some of the trivia now, and the one I had up first, I'm going to save that for last. But let's see. Filming in Oklahoma was actually briefly delayed due to the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City on April 19th of 1995. Many of the crew actually went to the site of the bombing to help with the recovery efforts.
Nice.
Oh wow!
It's again art being affected by real life. I mean. It happens when you get situations like that. I can't imagine what it would have been like to get that phone call. Like, guys, we're going to suspend production of the movie, and we need to go dig bodies out of this place. This bomb's exploded.
Right.
Especially that one, because a lot of kids died. So it's like, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that. I would imagine there was a little bit of PTSD after that one.
Oh, I'm sure.
Let's see. Just because I like seeing Lois Smith on the screen. The production bought 8 blocks of houses in the old downtown area in the real town of Wakita, Oklahoma, for $7,000 and $10,000 per house. These houses, in addition to 30 other homes were built by the production, were subsequently demolished by the film's crew for the scenes after the Twister passes. The town later rebuilt the downtown area and also kept the brand new fire truck that was used in the film.
Nice.
Oh, there you go. Might as well.
Yeah, they do that a lot with movies. Like they'll do things like refurbish buildings and build a bunch of shit, and then especially if it's a small town, a lot of times the movie producers just be like, "Here, have it." It's like we got what we wanted out of it. We did however many weeks of filming. You guys can do whatever you want with it now. That actually happens quite a bit.
And that's probably like a tax write-off for the cost of the film if they were to donate it or something. So.
I mean, it's sometimes I think it's also worked into like the agreement, especially like when you go to a small town to film something. They might say, we'll refurbish your firehouse if we can use it in this movie, and they're like, okay, whatever. I mean, it works out for everybody. So
there's a lot of movies where I can't remember which one of the Halloween films. Yeah, I think it was Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. Where the Myers house that they used, like they paid to rent it, they redid the entire inside of it, paid for like all of this crap, and then just gave it back to the family, and like they still live in it to this day or something. Like a lot of movies do that kind of shit. So
it's not unheard of.
Why not?
Let's see. They actually used jet engines from Boeing 707s to generate strong wind in some of the scenes.
Really?
What that was. So
now,
you're
were they just like
you're telling me it was windy?
Well, it sounds like it blew trying to make that happen. But what are you gonna do?
I've seen people like on YouTube videos try to stand behind in jet engines as they're revving up, as they're spinning up, and it's like. There was one video I'd seen, I don't know, a year or so ago, where a guy's standing there, and then they start the engine up, and then you can kind of see him at one point, and he's wearing like a windbreaker kind of suit, like a jogging suit, and you can see how the effect it's having on him. And then, like slowly as it spins up faster and faster, he's leaning forward until it gets to the point where it's almost 45 degrees.
Doing some Michael Jackson like,
and his weight is just being held up, and then eventually it's just like there's no traction left. It's like once that thing spins up to about 50 or 60% of power, it just blows that guy right off his feet and then back. And then, of course, he had like safety stuff behind him, balloons and stuff to catch him.
Because didn't MythBusters do that? Like that, like it picked up a whole fucking school bus like it was nothing and just launched it across the field.
I know he did it with like a small house at one point.
Yeah, I know they used like a car, like a little car. Then
that's kind of like
it's no joke. You get behind that thing and you're going for a flight.
I'm sure y'all like went to like the county fair or whatever and rode that one ride where it's just like a big metal circle and you like stand flat against the wall and like there's not even any like and like the floor drops down and you're just spinning so fast that the suction just holds you against the wall. Yeah, you just stick to it. It's basically the same thing like that.
Those are fun.
It'd be fun.
It gives you one hell of a wedgie, but they are fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't do that. Don't ride that ride drunk. And don't ask me how I know either. But
no, I've seen a buddy of mine throw up because he went on it one too many damn times. And he did not enjoy seeing his lunch a second time. So
yeah, the first time, not so great the second time.
Yeah, I did it once. I was like, oh, it was fun.
According to a book on the making of this movie, the CGI cow that was picked up by the Twister was originally a CGI zebra. It was a shot that was reused from another movie that came out a year earlier, Jumanji, in 1995.
Son of a bitch!
Really?
They basically took the CGI mapping that they had done for a flying zebra and just put a cow on it. So it's basically the same shot that you got from Jumanji. It's just a cow instead of a zebra.
I wonder if it was like when all the animals got sucked back into the board, they were kind of in that vortex or whatever, and they all just kind of went around the room. Maybe that's what it was. That's the only time I could think of a flying zebra. Yeah, and you can just use the same kind of motion for it. Yeah, that's the thing is we don't care that the cow's CG. We know it is, but it's like one of the most iconic things from this movie. Like you don't care. There's a cow.
That scene is so cool that even if they had drawn it in there in crayon, I would have been like, "That's pretty badass." It's like, that would have been if you'd animated it and put it in there and just made it look terrible. I'd have been like, "That's a pretty badass."
I still wouldn't have cared.
Obviously, I'm one of the many that preach practical over CGI, but that doesn't mean I don't want CGI in my film. Give me a CGI cow flying through the screen. I know it's not real, but you know what? It's funny. I also know that whenever I'm watching that Wolverine movie, that guy really doesn't have, giant metal blades going sneak, as they come out of his hands either. That doesn't take me out of it. Just make it look good. That's all I'm asking for. The cow looks fine in this movie.
Yeah, let's talk what could have been. Tom Hanks was actually the original choice for the role of Bill Harding.
Mm-hmm.
Hanks read lines with the cast and even chose the character's wardrobe, which stayed in the final film, but dropped out of pre-production and said it wasn't what I was trying to do with my career at the time. It called for an eccentric man with a southern flair, and that wasn't me. While on the set for Apollo 13 in 1995, Hanks felt his co-star Bill Paxton was perfect for this part in the film and helped Paxton land the role. Other people that were considered for the role, Mel Gibson, Kevin Costner, Dennis Quaid, John Travolta, Richard Gere, John Cusack, Nicolas Cage, Bruce Willis, Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, and Michael Keaton. They were all considered possibilities.
Maybe...
Kurt Russell's the only other name that I would have accepted off of that list.
Maybe Kurt Russell. Who? Oh damn it! Who'd you just say at the beginning? Read the first couple again.
Mel Gibson, Kevin Costner.
Costner. I think Costner was maybe the only one I maybe would have said could have worked.
I think
Costner would have been cool, but
I think he brings a little too much.
I guess he doesn't have the. He's kind of got the stoic to him, but I'm like I don't know if it would have worked.
Yeah, I think Costner broods a little too much because there are times where when Bill is really happy about something, or Bill Paxton is happy about something, he conveys that happiness, but he can move very boldly between the emotions of the moments. Whereas I don't know that Costner always does that. I don't feel like that there is that big change in his demeanor when he's going from a happy moment to a tense moment. He's always kind of got the same facial expressions. You know what I mean?
Also, I don't know why Hanks is going to sit here and say an eccentric man with southern flair. Did you not do Forrest Gump, sir? Is that not an eccentric man with southern flair?
He was actually very humble.
Well,
true.
Hang on a minute.
A little different.
We still got to see Kevin Costner do a Twister movie. Did y'all not see Man of Steel? How does Pa Kent die in that movie? Getting sucked into a tornado.
Really did a whole lot of God.
We still
take them.
Now there may not have been Dorothy to stop, but you know what? We still get to see Kevin Costner die in a tornado. So I'm counting.
Man of Steel didn't do anything. Hey, he should have just done what Reeves did. He should have just flown the opposite way around the tornado and undid it.
Right, just fly around the world, completely destroyed the planet, knocking us off the gravitational cycle in reverse time, because that's how it works.
I've seen you reverse an earthquake, sir. A tornado is nothing for you. Okay,
you can handle this.
You're dropping the ball.
Wouldn't that just create like so? We've got a tornado this way. Now we've got a bigger tornado that way. So we're going to die twice. This is basically what you're giving us. Thanks a lot. So whatever. But it's all good.
Let's see. According to an urban legend, me and Jeremy have talked about this plenty of times, a tornado hit a drive-in theater in Stony Creek, Ontario, while this movie was playing. In reality, a tornado hit a drive-in theater in Thurhold, Ontario, on May 20th, 1996, damaging a screen. This movie was not playing when the tornado hit. But it was scheduled to play that evening.
Wow. Well, I will be going to see Twisters at the drive-in just because I have to.
Yeah, you kind of.
I cannot wait. I have had this penciled in on my schedule for months now. I cannot wait for this. So
it'd be great if on the other screen they're doing a double feature, like in this movie where they're watching Psycho and then The Shining. And then show.
Yeah. Now I don't know what I don't know what will be double featured with this, but I cannot wait for this weekend to see this at the drive-in. So
now you know,
cannot.
Yeah, they have that drive-in up in like Brookville or something like that. The Brookville, Inglewood, Clayton, that area. Melody Drive-In.
It's on 49, yes.
Yeah. That one's still open, and I'm pretty sure that movie is going to be playing there at some point. And we are kind of in that area of the year where we could possibly get tornadoes. Do we tempt fate and just go up there one day and watch this on a big screen at the drive?
We're Midwesterners, I'm telling you, man. I'll go out there with a bottle of Jack Daniels and be like, all right.
Have a drink.
Now, is there also a mechanic's garage that you can go underground at? Just in case shit gets real, like you're gonna need that too. So
we don't need to hide.
But I know a place that's underground, not too far from there.
I guarantee, if y'all go when that happens, I guarantee you the first thing that Jeremy says is "It's already here." As he drops his Coke and milk duds and runs toward the nearest shelter, you know he's gonna do that. So it's gonna happen.
Actually, I think there is like a. Actually, no, I think there is. Not you go down that road a little bit, and then there's a road that goes on the corner. I think there is a guy that has like it's either an auto shop or something. So actually,
well, there you go. You just need a drive-in and a mechanic garage with the pit underneath where you can walk underneath and do your thing. So you'll figure it out.
It'd be a little bit of a run, but yeah,
right.
You just about could.
Stay out of the suck zone, and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Let's see. I'll go to this picture because I haven't had
yes
up there yet.
I hoped you had that.
I knew that Jeremy was going to love that picture. Michael Crichton and his wife Anne Marie Martin were paid $2 million for their script, which at the time made it the single most expensive screenplay ever purchased.
Wow! Oh shit!
This simple of a movie cost $2 million.
The script
That's crazy.
cost $2 million.
That's what I'm saying. The script did okay. Here's your pitch. We're going to track tornadoes in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, listen to me. I've said that so much that it comes out naturally. I can't help myself. Oklahoma, and there's a love story. That's the plot. Like, that cost $2 million. Like, pay me $2 million. Come on now. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
so I want one of those vans so goddamn bad. I love the barn burner.
I was looking at that and I was like, ooh, I could go buy me an old school bus and turn it into the barn burner.
Oh, you don't think I've already been doing that? I need to stay off like Facebook Marketplace and other places that are selling like old like 80s like vans and shit like that and buses. I'm like, oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, also the name Michael Crichton being attached to it is something else because at this point, Michael Crichton, even though it was slightly before Jurassic Park, it was probably about the time that ER was hitting the TV screens because ER was something that was written by him. But even before,
he basically got $2 million because of his name. Why?
Even before all of his stuff started to get turned into these visual properties on television and screen, even before that, he was already a pretty accomplished author. I mean, he had done not the drama stream. What the hell did he do? Anyway, he had written three or four books that were just huge. So I mean, he was already a big name in literary circles. So maybe people were seeing this and they were just like, well, we're in the 80s and 90s that were driven the movie wise anyway. Both those decades were driven by blockbusters, and a movie like Twisters is something you were going to make as an independent film. If you were going to make it, you had to go big. So maybe they were just like, hey, he's Michael Crichton. He's got this track record. We'll see. I mean, again, I don't know what the
made that little movie
stuff. But
Jurassic Park happened a few years before this, so it's like, maybe we should.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably jumping all over his properties when Jurassic Park took off. So, and Spielberg, having done Jurassic Park, was also in on the production of this movie as well. So if Spielberg's got an eye for your shit, that's got to run your price tag up a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
So should Twisters be T2 The Lost World? Like, if we're playing with the Jurassic Park rules here, something along that line could be like not The Lost World, but like The Lost. I don't know. So play with it like that could be kind of fun.
You were so hung up on shared universes, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, why not? Hey, that's what
I'm sure.
People make millions of dollars every year in Hollywood for having the same thinking logic I'm having right now. Why can't I get paid for it too? Dang it! Just saying.
Right, because I'm sure Dr. Ian Malcolm's going to walk out there and talk about chaos when relating to tornadoes, since they are very unpredictable.
Oh, if they put Jeff Goldblum in this movie, Gamer's going to shit. Like, you know that. Like, he's going, look at them. Like, he's going to do the DiCaprio meme. You know, he's going to lose it. So why not?
You know, I'll skip this one thing for a minute and go to this next one since it fits into what we're just talking about. Twister actually floated around the industry for several years and was seen as a very sought-after project before moving into production. Very early on in development, before Jan de Bont was hired, Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, Tim Burton, John Carpenter, James Cameron, and John Badham were all considered, approached, or attached to direct the film at various points in pre-production. Spielberg would eventually stay on to serve as executive producer.
Damn.
So they threw $2 million at the script, thinking that they were going to go big on it. They were going to go balls out.
I want to see John Carpenter's Twisters just because you know it's going to have some kind of knockoff Halloween music. Like he's going to do some kind of score that's completely synth and would be awesome to listen to. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see John Carpenter's Twisters. Like, that could have been cool.
I think Cameron would have been kind of cool.
Could have been interesting.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, Cameron would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was, a year after this? Was it 96 or 97 in Titanic?
97 was Titanic.
97, I think.
So we could have gotten this instead of Titanic, or maybe this would have been the big lead up for him going into Titanic. That would have, I mean, look, Cameron.
Somehow on the line, he's done Avatar just to piss me off.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We only if we could have got a scene of Bill Paxton drawing Helen Hunt naked. Then I'd be down if he did that. That I'd be cool.
Since James Cameron has a thing for space aliens and shit, he could have walked out there like, "Game over, man!
Game over, man!
Game over, man!"
Oh my god, it would have been a bit. You could have called it the Bill Paxton verse. Like, just have him star in a different genre, but somehow he's the same character. Like, that'd be great.
Hey, maybe, like he said, there was another Bill, an evil Bill, and he killed him.
Oh.
Maybe there's more to that.
There you go.
Here's one you'll get a kick out of, Jeremy.
Oh, God.
In an early scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman is sitting on a lawn chair, he lifts his leg in the air while laughing. His genitals were fully visible for a split second of the film. However, it was edited out of the DVD and VHS releases, but it was leaked from VHS screeners that were sent to industry professionals who did not get the edited versions.
I'm more so, how? You're wearing pants, my dude. How'd you? All right, man. Well, you do you, Dusty. It's not the suck zone I asked for, but.
You know what, though? That so fits the character, though.
No, I know. I'm like, now I'm going to, like, why don't you explain to Melissa why you are the way you are? Like, you can't tell me that dude, like, he just feels like the ultimate best friend. You know what I mean? Like, he's just, you can't help but want to hang out with this guy a little bit. He's
the friend that you call, like, he always has weed. Like, that's the dude that always has good pot. Like, you're like, you know what?
Now
I don't want to worry about it. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's the one you call where it's like, you've had a shitty work week. You're like, I just need to blow off steam, and we're just gonna do our thing and eat Funyuns for the next 8 hours and not even know who we are. That's who you call right there. So, yeah, everybody needs something like that.
Let's see. Again, what could have been with the casting. Christopher McDonald was considered for the role of Dr. Jonas Miller, but was already committed to shooting Happy Gilmore, where he coincidentally plays a similar arrogant, smug villain. Other people that were considered for the role were Alec Baldwin, Peter Green, and Hugh Laurie. Hugh Laurie would have been fun to see in that. I think he's a good asshole.
Yeah, like Dr. House kind of asshole. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he could play that snarky kind of like dickhead guy.
But I still think.
Oh, look at that face. He's kind of got that little smirk, that little.
I know, but I still think we're better off because there is this quality about Cary Elwes that is very. He's got the looks. Oh, yeah. He's got the personality. He's got the energy. But when he's an asshole, that makes it all that much better.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Cary Elwes plays. He's got. Especially in that photo alone, he's got the most punchable face. Like, I just want to beat the shit out of you. Like, I hate your mother for even thinking of having. Like that's the kind of look he's giving you right there. But yeah, I couldn't see anybody but Bill Paxton and Cary Elwes in these lead roles. Like they're the heart of this film for me.
It's always props to an actor. If you make me like hate your character, if you're supposed to be like a like good dude,
well,
you did
that's what I'm saying.
So.
There's nothing as fun as a righteous bad guy who truly believes in their cause, and he truly he knows he stole that design. He knows he did all this stuff, and he doesn't care. You know, he knows he's willing to cut any throat to get to the top, and that makes for a great villain. So, what you need.
You know, I thought about making this an over-under for the number of people who die in this movie, but I know that it makes Jeremy's head want to explode. If nothing else, it usually makes that vein right here start to swell. So I'm just going to give you guys this one. Despite the severity of and frequency of tornadoes in this movie, there are only 3 known deaths. Joe's father at the beginning of the movie, Jonas and Eddie toward the end of the movie.
But we did see an entire town of Wakita leveled to the ground. I'm like, you're not going to tell me there weren't some people that died in that? So that's why.
But there were only 3 people that are shown to have died in the movie. That's my point.
That's what I'm saying. If you would have said that we
so you can make
you
can make the assumption that nobody got killed in Wakita.
I would like that to be the case, yeah. And hey, as always, a good point. The dog didn't die. We still got to keep Mose, so it's always good.
We should have done an over-under of how many cows died in this movie. This is what we should have done.
We didn't see the cow die.
Yeah, we didn't see him die. He could have landed in the water. He could have landed softly on some hay somewhere. We don't know.
the meat's nice and tenderized now, and then he's just gonna swim off.
You know that cow landed in the middle of some meth head trailer park, and they just scavenged it to death. You know that's where that thing landed.
That tornado's a dick. It's a cow tipper. What an asshole!
That cow was flying around, and he was thinking to himself, it would have been better if I'd have died at Aunt May's place, cut up and in that cast iron.
Could have been steak and eggs, damn it.
I would have at least been a part of a great breakfast. But now I'm going to be doing 500 miles an hour in a field somewhere, and I'm going to splatter my shell over the fucking.
That cow's thinking I could be getting digested by Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt right now. But no, I'm getting sucked into the sky to be landing God knows where. So
nope. Now I'm just ground beef. God damn it!
Right. Now I'm dog food.
Right.
But one that I was saving because I know that this is one that me and Jeremy talked about the last time we reviewed this movie. After Bill Paxton died in 2017, Spotter Network choreographed 200 storm chasers to spell out his initials BP with their GPS tracker blips on a radar display to honor him.
Oh, cool.
This kind of tribute had only been done 5 times before. And this is the first time it had ever been done for someone who wasn't an actual storm chaser.
Exactly. I thought that was the coolest goddamn thing when I saw that. I was like, that's amazing. I love it.
I've never seen that before. I didn't know they did that.
I think not long after I heard he passed away, I saw that excuse me, I saw that picture, and I was like, that's actually really cool. Like you said, that someone who was not, he played a tornado chaser, but like that shows you how important that is and how much weight that carries, that they're going to do this for this guy. That's one of the coolest things we're seeing. I love that.
Yeah, there's been a couple of movies that I know Indiana Jones is one of them. I know when the first Indiana Jones film came out, they said they actually saw I remember reading in the years since then that they actually saw a spike of people that were going to college for anthropology and doing all that stuff, and going back and looking for stuff, doing what he does in the movie. And this movie, I think, was the same thing. I think in the 5 or 10 years after this movie came out, that some of the kids that had grown up watching this movie or had seen the movie as they were going into college decided they wanted to go into meteorology or some kind of field like that, to where they could do at least kind of maybe not chase storms literally, but just kind of be involved in this process of trying to figure out storms and learn about them and kind of get into that line of work. And this is definitely one of the movies that I think spurred people into a specific field of study. And when you hear that about a movie, it's kind of the ultimate. It's kind of the ultimate like fist pump. I mean, it's like the ultimate. It's the nicest thing you can say about a movie. It's like not just the movie was good, that you changed the direction of lives. Because who knows? These kids probably would have gone on to do lesbian underwater basket weaving like Ben Shapiro talks about all the time. But instead, they actually went and did something that matters. It's not. I mean, it's not going to make them billionaires, but it's going to help it's going to help science somehow. You know what I mean?
It's still important. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still important. But yeah, that's one of the things about Bill Paxton I've always thought was the coolest. Like I remember not too long after he passed away, I was hearing all the people talk about him and stuff like that. And I think what was one of the movies that came out about that he was in that came out around the time he died? I think it was that movie The Circle, where he played the girl Emma Watson, the girl that played Hermione. She works for some like super like Apple or Google or something like that in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
He plays one of her parents. And it's like somebody had talked to it may have been Tom Hanks, because Tom Hanks has a role in that movie as well. But he was saying that that Bill Paxton was always the strangest character. He's like, you talk to him, and he's got that Southern voice, that aw shucks kind of personality. But you don't realize that he is stupid smart. That he's a Shakespearean trained actor. Mm-hmm. That this guy's got an IQ that's like 180 or some crazy bullshit. I mean, this guy literally was super intelligent, and for some reason went into acting, and was not only decided to turn that intelligence towards acting, but was so good at it. The different roles that he had played over the course of his career, from playing Hicks in the Aliens movie to playing something like this, and then playing an astronaut in Apollo 13, and then one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's a bit too much of a soap opera for most people, I understand, but Big Love, that was on HBO forever, where he played the Mormon guy. Dude, that is some fantastic acting.
How can you talk Bill Paxton and not his Jimmy Buffett knockoff in Broken Lizards Club Dread? That is my favorite role that he ever did.
Pina Colada should have won a Grammy. Should have won a Grammy for Pina Colada.
I love that. That is such a fun movie to watch. I love Club Dread.
Well, I found that the other day, and I was like, I gotta watch this sometime.
You also can't, you can't knock this guy. Remember, he is also, in fact, still the only person who has been killed by a Terminator, an alien, and the Predator.
True.
So,
holy crap! I never thought about that.
Right? That's a badge of honor on its own. He's the only person who's been killed by all three of those things.
Holy trinity of sci-fi monsters and robots.
If he could have only added a RoboCop in there, that would have just been, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's a cool badge of honor to have too.
Yeah, Stuart. I didn't say the movie was any good, Stuart. I just said he was in it. there was a couple of good performances.
I don't think I've ever seen.
I remember that now. Like Tom Hanks was like the main guy or something. I remember that.
Yeah, now. Tom Hanks played like some. He wasn't like a Bill
CEO
Gates,
or something.
He was like a CEO of this big company.
Yeah.
The girl that plays Hermione goes to work for him, and she volunteers to. They gave some employees and I guess her, for whatever reason specifically, a chance to like her and her family live their entire life online or something like that. It's just really, it's kind of an odd concept. And at the end of the movie, she ends up kind of turning on him and like releasing a bunch of emails that say that him and his company were doing shady shit. And then it doesn't really show him being arrested, but it's kind of like that. But I mean, it was.
I don't remember who he played.
Not very well executed.
But Bill Paxton. I don't know if y'all ever watched it or not. I watched it briefly. That Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show that was on ABC for a little while. Yeah. He was on there for a few. He played a bad guy. Like I don't know if he was a Hydra agent or if he was some bigger character. I can't remember who he was. But Bill Paxton was technically in the MCU. So I mean, like not really, but kind of. So.
Yeah, he played an old friend of. Let me see if I can get it real quick. He played an old friend of,
I can't remember.
Of fucking Coulson.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I knew he was a villain there for a few episodes. It was like early on in the show. Like I think he died on that show or something. I can't remember. But he was also in the MCU.
He died while the show was filming. And then
I
think in one of the well, I mean, he wasn't. His character at that point didn't have an active role in what was going on, but later on in the show, they go back in time, and his son, his real life son, plays a younger version of him.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, I don't think I saw them go back in time. I just remember seeing Bill Paxton in the MCU. I remember that at the time.
Yeah, he played John Garrett, who was I don't know if he was just a new character they developed or what.
I don't know. I'm not that big into Marvel. I don't know that deep cut of characters. I'm not for sure.
Okay, John Garrett or the Clairvoyant. So there was probably Portrayed by Bill Paxton as an adult, and James Paxton as a young man, was a SHIELD agent who was left for dead and went to survive after becoming the first Deathlock. Joining Hydra, he became a clairvoyant, leader of the Centipede group, and declared himself blah 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 blah. But yeah.
Let's also not forget Bill Paxton played a really great sleazy car salesman in True Lies. Also Schwarzenegger.
One of the many things that makes that movie so fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if you ever get, I mean, like I said, my dad hated it because he without ever watching an episode of it, he thought it was to make Mormons look bad, and he became Mormon later in his life. But it's about this Mormon guy who's secretly trying to like keep the fact that he's got multiple wives from the
Why would anybody ever want multiple wives? What kind of fresh hell would that
religion,
be?
Religion's wild, man.
Don't ask me. Ask that John Smith guy years ago who thought it was a good idea. But
go ask the state of Utah.
I
don't feel like asking him.
But yeah, I thought he was. I mean, like I said, it's a bit too much of a soap opera for me at times. But I mean, I just thought that show was wildly engrossing.
Apparently, Stewart thinks it's absolute shit. So
I've watched the Circle. The Circle is what he said he thought was shit.
The Circle,
yeah. And he's not wrong. That movie wasn't all that great. There was a couple of scenes I thought were good. Again, not the best. Interesting concept, not the best effort. But I mean, whatever. But yeah, I thought he was fantastic in that. But let me get you guys' final thoughts on Twister 1996. Jeremy, I'll go to you first. Final thoughts on Twister.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those essential watch movies. I'm telling you, like, it's a good movie. It's fun. It's got, you know, it's got some fast pace. You know, you're chasing tornadoes down and this ragtag convoy of, you know, of good friends that are all just trying to do right by the world by giving, you know, a better warning system, because as we know, tornadoes are terrifying. So having a window of time from 3 minutes, I think all three of us can speak from experience. This shit's terrifying. Even though we're out there staring at it, but like, you know, it's still terrifying. It's all for, you know, they're trying to do something right by the world by giving a 3-minute window into a 15-minute window, which would just, you know, that makes all the world a difference. And like I said, it almost weirdly, like I said, we were talking about the cast and them feeling like they were genuine friends. It's like you almost feel like you just want to be a part of them. You know what I mean? It feels really genuine. I don't know. You come away kind of feeling good about it. I think I actually watched this movie when I was a kid, which may or may not say some things about me. But I mean, I remember seeing this as a kid, and I remember seeing, you know, Tornado as a kid. So that's a fun image to put in my mind, along with Jurassic Park. So, you know, there's a reason why I'm on this show, because I saw stuff I probably shouldn't have. But hey, I've seen some things, man. You weren't there, man. Yeah, no, I definitely go watch this movie. I'll even say it. I know somebody clip it. How many times have I said don't do this shit? But I'm like, you know what? I would say let's maybe give Twisters a chance, and we'll see in a week what I'll say then. But I have a better feeling about this than I have a better feeling about this than I do about most movies that are, you know, 30 years out, 40, 50 years down the line. So yeah, good movie. Frank, you're muted. Even though I'm sure you're passing the ball to Tex, but
I was passing the ball to Tex. Tex, give me your final thoughts on Twister.
Don't fumble the ball. Gotcha.
Yeah, fumble.
He's passing the couch to you.
I picked it up and I'm running toward the end zone. It's fine. Yeah, Twister's one of those movies that I can't say I pick it up very often and purposely put it in the DVD player or the Blu-ray player, but anytime I ever come across it, I sit down and watch it. It's like, oh, Twister's on TV. We're watching this for the next 90 minutes. It's a fun, comfort movie. Takes me right back to childhood. I can see me sitting in the theater watching this for the first time, hearing the real tornado sirens go off. It was one of those memories I burned into my head I'll never forget. Great cast. This is what a fun popcorn movie should be. You don't have to take it too seriously, but you're going to enjoy your 90 minutes. You're not going to regret paying to go to the theater or buying this. So if you don't own this one physically, I would recommend owning this one because this was a fun one. Even if you just watch it like once a year in the summertime or something, you'll always have fun with this.
I will say a quick testament to that. I was just at my haunt this past weekend, and we went to this little restaurant that's in town to eat. And I kid you not, Twister. They had Twister playing on the TV.
Cool.
No sound, but I didn't need it. I'm saying I didn't need the sound. They were just playing.
Yeah, you can just
whatever channel it was on. Oh, I know. I could hear it in my head. I'm like, I can hear this movie. But I'll tell you what, I was actually just focused on that, and I was realizing halfway through that my boss was telling a story about some past employee being an asshole, and I realized I was not fucking paying attention because I was just staring at the screen, like, list. And then I realized, oh wait, what this guy do? And I heard like the last tail end of it. I missed the whole setup, but because I was so fixated on that, and that's when I actually asked Frank if he wanted to go see the new movie. Because I was like, hey, while I'm thinking about it, it's in this, nowhere town in the middle of nowhere playing on this TV, and I was like, hey, you want to go see Twisters? So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was fixated on so I can watch Twister on mute, man, and it's still fun.
It really is one of those movies, though. It's one of the magical things about this movie and movies like it. It's like, is it the best movie ever made? No, but I mean, but to most people, it's like of the 100 movies that they're always going to carry with them in some facet, this is probably one of them. I mean, like Jeremy was saying, if I walk into a place and this movie's playing on silent, I can almost hear the movie in my head. I don't need the sound. I can hear what Joe is saying to Bill. I can hear Philip Seymour Hoffman being like, "They'll rue the day, man. Eminent ruinage."
Eminent ruinage.
I mean everything. I mean, it's like this is one of those movies that it's like from start to finish, I just smile watching it. It just feels good to watch. It's one of those movies that just kind of takes you out of yourself for a minute. And I think that's one of the great things about movies. Period. It's like we all have those couple of movies in that specific genre or whatever. It's like we'll never think about sitting and watching. We want to watch a film like Tech said, but if we're flipping through the channels and it's on, we will put the remote down and we will just fold our hands and we will just we want that movie to absorb us when we see it. It's a fantastic movie. If I ever try to like write something where I put like 100 movies that you should watch, whatever, this is definitely going to be on that list. I mean, it kind of has to be. The performances were great. The action was great. The special effects still look good. I mean, I can't knock this movie for really much of anything significant. What are you about to say, Jeremy?
I want to get that poster I keep seeing where it's like a lottery scratch off poster, but it's like 100 movies you should see. It's like, once you watch it, you scratch it off and there's a little graphic behind it. I'm like, I would put that movie up there for sure. I'm not sure what the whole layout was, but I've always wanted that poster because I'm like, and I wouldn't just cheap be like, oh, I have already seen that. I've already seen that. I probably
you would actually go watch them again.
I was like, I would actually watch them again. To actually have the fun of it. So
I'm really hoping that my theater, because at the theater that I go to for most stuff to see movies, they've been having like the posters out. Like they had one for Quiet Place. They had one for that Horizon, that Kevin Costner movie that's out right now. That there was one other one out. I'm really hoping that this week that they have Twisters posters, because if they do, I'm getting like 20 of them. Like, and I will make sure to mail them to y'all or something.
That's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about. I'm going to try to get to this special showing at the Regal, the special fan event tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's usually when they hand that stuff out. Now, generally speaking, they usually just kind of hand them out. They have them at the concession stand, so I'm going to go this weekend anyway.
Right?
So I'll probably say, hey, can I grab one of those? And they'll give me however many I want. They usually do. But
hell yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the reasons I want to go because I know I've got we went to saw not Endgame, but Infinity War. To a special fan event, and we got these special challenge coins that they were giving out there. That I still have. There's my drawer. They're in my desk drawer. Actually, I need to. There's these little holder things I keep wanting to get off Amazon to put them in. One's like green, one's purple. It's really weird, but and all these other little posters like it from the Regal and other theaters and stuff. I keep wanting to put those things up as decorations. But yeah, I'm hoping they'll have something really cool there. Even what do you think the popcorn bucket's going to look like? Is it going to be a Twister? Since that apparently is how you market movies now, is by making a popcorn bucket specific for your movie.
Well, they could do one of Glenn Powell and the cowboy hat, then in the trucker hat, and then a tornado. And I don't know, didn't he have a dog named Brisket in this new movie or something? So Maybe they want to do one for the dog brisket or something. I don't know.
Brisket.
It could be your set.
They definitely still up from Far Cry because there's a little dog named Chorizo.
Right.
And he's the cutest goddamn dog.
Right.
I'm gonna get a dog named Chorizo.
I think I read that. I think I read the dog's name Brisket. I'm pretty sure about that, but I'll say this weekend. I don't know.
The little dog named Chorizo, he's like a little mini like dachshund, and he has I think he's missing his back leg, so he's got like a little like harness and little wheels. He's the cutest goddamn dog. Like you wouldn't think in some game where you're out fighting. I mean, it could be like pirates on this island or not necessarily terrorists, and you got this little itty bitty like dachshund who's your little sidekick, and I'm like, yeah, but he does it well. He kind of imagine he kind of does like what Puss in Boots does. He'll just wheel up to some enemies, and they're like, "Oh, that's adorable." I'm in the bush, like scope in, like, "All right, bitch, yeah, just stare at the cute dog." Boom. It's amazing.
Don't kill the dog. We've seen that happen before.
Yeah, there's a little movie called John Wick. Yeah.
But like I said, I'm really excited for Twisters. The trailers look good. Just let it be its own thing. Don't make it too closely connected, or just connect it a little bit to where it makes me happy. That's all I really ask. But let's see. Yeah, that's a good place to start wrapping things up. Thanks to my amazing co-host for being awesome as usual. My hetero life mate Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
You can find me sitting here looking through stuff on it's Prime Day. I'm trying to find this damn movie poster. No, I'm here Tuesday and Thursday. I don't know. Are we doing something Thursday? Or are we
I think Thursday we'll probably get together and just do some some deeper predictions for Deadpool. Because when I was looking at the way I had things scheduled on the
Isn't Trump speaking Thursday at the RNC? Like we probably won't have much of an audience.
I don't care. I
don't know.
I don't know either.
So I don't know. Whatever we're doing, I was like, we might be tied up and going to see Twisters, and it's But yeah, we'll be back to do that and also do Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'm excited for that. I don't do stuff on the internet. I know that's ironic to say at the moment, but if you could see the widescreen aspect ratio, what's around me, I'm sitting in like boxes. So maybe after another 5 years, when I get this place fully unpacked, and I might do something. So whatever, I don't know. Just look at the internet for stuff. I don't know how it works. I'm gonna go back to looking for movie posters. Sorry.
Tex, how about you? What do you got going on the internet, my friend?
Oh, hanging out here, talking about whatever we're doing. Y'all need to go check out Long Legs. If y'all like 90s serial killer, creepy, Long Legs is Nicolas Cage is a creepy serial killer. Like, I don't want to say anything about this movie to spoil it. It's not the scariest movie that you'll ever see. But this is the most unnerving movie to sit down and watch. Like, I was sitting next to these two girls that were watching it, and the whole time they had they brought the blanket with them, and they were literally holding it over their face through half of this movie. It is the most unsettling, creepy, just like the whole 90 minutes, whatever it is. I really enjoyed this film. I think I've got it at number 3 on my rankings for the year so far. So I can't praise this movie enough. Go watch Long Legs. I mean, Nicolas Cage I'll give you one line. He does a Chris Hardwick from House of a Thousand Corpses and gives you a good old Hail Satan a couple times in this movie. So, he just go watch Long Legs. You will not regret it. So it was a lot of fun. It was very Silence of the Lambs. So go check it out for yourself.
I'm here for that.
Yeah, I don't know why, but Long Legs is one of those movies that, like, every time I see a trailer, I'm like, I really think I should go see this movie. I can't quantify what it is exactly in my head. It just looks like something I want to go see. So I may have to pop out. Yeah. I may have to pop out Saturday and maybe try to catch a few of this. Maybe I'll take my boys.
You need to go see it. I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
But yeah, you will find us back here on Thursday, probably doing a breakdown of what we think, a deeper breakdown of what we think is going to be coming in in Deadpool versus Wolverine. Also, there's some leaks that came out yesterday, I think, about what Marvel is going to be doing in Hall H here in a couple of weeks when Comic-Con starts here in just actually I think it's maybe less than a week. So
they need to just trot out Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. That would make everybody happy. That's what they need to do.
That's one of the things that they may have mentioned, that there's going to be a Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman sighting. Not that they're going to be there, which I wouldn't be surprised,
right.
But that they might drop some further plans as to what you will be seeing them in the future. So,
didn't he do that though? I mean, wasn't Ryan Reynolds like walking around like San Diego Comic-Con like head to toe dressed in Deadpool attire? I'm like, you'd never know it was him unless he took the helmet off. I'm like, I think he did that a few years ago.
Maybe.
I mean, you can get away with that.
But I have a feeling that Marvel's going to drop 1 or 2 bombs on us at Comic-Con, and then D23 I think is at the end of the month. So, and we're going to be getting a lot of like Disney Plus and TV show news. Hopefully, some more news about the Daredevil series at D23. So I'm
sitting here sad. There's no more E3 for games.
So the rest of this month we can be getting some Marvel news. What I want to hear is that there's direction now. That there is a plan. That we now have figured out how we're going to time this stuff. None of this new movie, new TV show every 3 days bullshit like Chapek had him doing.
I have no faith in Marvel Disney. I got to be completely honest.
I have faith now that Iger's back and now that he's given control back to Feige as to the timing and the quality of it all. I have faith in that.
It did seem like it kind of stopped. I'm like, yeah, I think
I'm going to need like 3, I think I need at least 3 back-to-back Marvel projects that really kill it before I start believing and giving any hope back to an MCU. Because right now it's hot garbage. But,
I am much more confident than I was 18 months ago. Much more confident than I was 18 months ago.
I have none. So,
yeah, I think it'll be good. But thank you all for coming out and hanging out with us. We very much appreciate it. We'll see you guys on Thursday as we go over some of our ideas as what we're going to see. A lot of stuff. A lot of things that trickle out. They're going to be awesome. We will see you guys then. Until next time, adios.
Adios.
What you guys
Watch out
don't
for flying
know
cows.
What you guys don't know is that Jeremy's woman is marrying his penis and not him. So.
You know, whether it's
I'm not even gonna say it.
Whether it's the divorce or whether it's the divorce or the bad weather, somebody's losing the trailer in Oklahoma. By God, so you know.
Are you saying I should stand on my head? Is that how this works?
And grab your ankles. The best place to get hit with lightning is your ass.